What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with my next edition of my Uncanny X-Men collection. So we are now in episode 3, and so we will be visiting Uncanny X-Men 201 through 299, and I do appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this and other videos that we've already recorded. If you haven't already seen the episodes 1 and 2, you can go ahead and view this one because this one will be premiering. But you can also check out the description below for the links to the former videos. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button and the subscribe button to this channel. I make content like this all the time and unboxings as we journey together in my various comic book collecting journey. And I ask that you would also hit the bell notification so that when videos like this drop, you are one of the first people to know. With all that said, let's dive into the collection. So we stopped at 200 last time. So starting at 201, the first appearance of baby Nathan Summers. Also when Storm kicks Cyclops' butt. I have a newsstand and a direct copy of this. Plan on getting Rick Leonardi and Chris Claremont to sign this year. 202. (203) The Beyonder proving that the moment is still relevant. 204. Newsstand. 204 Direct Edition. 205. This is some Barry Windsor Smith goodness on X-Men there. 206 Direct Edition. 206 Newsstand Edition. 207. I almost bought a double cover copy of this from Mr. Lett, but that got a little expensive. 208. 209 Newsstand. 209 Direct. 210. 211. 212. I actually got a decent deal on this. I think it was like $40. I mean, it cost almost that to get it graded, but it is one of the old CGC labels. And then I recently picked up from Big Lion Cat a direct edition of this on the cheap. And I already had a newsstand version of that. 213 rather. 214. 215. 216. 217. Dazzler versus the Juggernaut. Who can't get on board with that? 218. Long Shot hanging out with the ladies. 219. Welcome to the X-Men Havoc. Hope you survived the experience. A very cliched callback to Rogue as well as Kitty Pryde when they joined the X-Men. That's a direct edition. Also have a newsstand of that. 220. That's the newsstand. And then 220 direct. 221 is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister. This is the classic version, or the So Much Fun variant. and it is, I think it was distributed through like Toys R Us or something to that nature. If anybody knows for sure and wants to clarify or correct me, feel free to do so in the description below. But this is that variant. And then I also have a direct edition of that same book there. Got that one from Weapon X on the cheap. I also have a newsstand copy of the same comic that is signed by Mark Silvestri. If, at the recording of this video next month, Chris Claremont is indeed at the Huntsville Comic Con, plan to get him to double sign that one, or put that sign and make it double sign there. 222, also signed by Mark Silvestri last year at GalaxyCon. So hope to get Chris Claremont to make it a double sign there. 223. 224. 225. 226. 227. Hint on the fall of the mutants, they fall but they get back up. 228. We got the direct edition. And then we also got the newsstand edition. 229. 230. 231. 232. 233. That's the newsstand edition of 233. Yeah, that is the newsstand. So I actually have two newsstands. 234. So I used to not collect like multiples, like if there's a variant of some kind, like a Mark Jewelers or a direct versus a newsstand, I'll keep that. But normally I don't keep multiple copies of that. But on X-Men, I've started doing it simply because so many people ask me about X-Men that, you know, if they have something, then I can help them out. 234, Wolverine healing factor fighting off the Brood there. 235. 236. 237 is one of the ones I was talking about. So we got 237, we got the newsstand, Rogue and Wolverine teaming up. Got 237, the direct edition. We got 237, the direct edition again. Then we got 238, newsstand. 238, the direct edition. 239. I believe that's a Mark Jewelers variant on that one. 240, the direct edition. 240, the newsstand edition. 241. 242. 243, the regular direct edition. And then 243, this is the Toy Biz variant that came with one of the toys. I don't know if it was Mr. Sinister or who it was. Then 244, newsstand edition. And then 244, the direct edition. This is the first appearance of Jubilee, as well as, is it the Reavers that are in here? Of course, Jubilee, the more. I bought this book at a Comic-Con, and it was like priced at 20 or 25 bucks, which would have been reasonable had it been in the shape that it was supposed to be in. But word to the wise, be sure to check out, especially on the bigger books. Now, if you're in the dollar bins, you see it's $1. That's what kind of shape it's in. It's in a dollar shape. So, you can't really argue much there. But on the higher priced books, be sure to check them out. Opened it up, and it's messed up on the back cover. And the guy goes, "Oh, well, I didn't realize that. Just make me an offer." I said $5. He said, "I'll take it." So there is that. So 245, the direct edition. This one's got all kinds of weird appearances in it. You can look it up and see who all they are, but it's like E.T. and Alf and, just different pop culture references in this issue. Also, there's a supposedly a nude picture of Jean Grey. However, you cannot see it. It's shaded out in the back, and a Rob Liefeld cover. 245, the newsstand edition. Got 246. 247, the direct edition. And this is the one where Rogue gets pulled into the Siege Perilous portal. When she comes back, she looks totally different. The Rogue that we all know today is the Rogue that she comes back as. Back then, she had that 80s hairdo. She still wasn't all that, nicely drawn. That changed when she comes back. So 247, the newsstand. Got 248, the newsstand edition. This is where Rogue supposedly dies. Come to find out that Nanny takes her, and she comes back as a little kid later on in the first appearance of Gambit. So I actually have two newsstand 248s. And for some reason, I don't have the gold second edition. Thought I had picked that up somewhere. 249, direct edition. 249, the newsstand edition. 250, the direct edition. 250, the newsstand edition. 251, now famous Wolverine on the X cross. It's been copied a couple different times. 252, the direct edition. 252, the newsstand edition. $253, newsstand. 253, direct edition. 254. 255, and this is where Destiny dies because she's a precog, or she can see into the future. She has not been resurrected in the House of X Hickman run as of the filming of this video. And so Mystique is going to tear everything down, as we know. So as the stuff heats back up, we'll see how that all pans out. But that's where she dies. 256. It's where Psylocke comes back, or Quanon. We find out later that they got their minds kind of melded together. But that's the Mandarin. So the Acts of Vengeance were where the evildoers said, "Hey, heroes know how to beat us because they fight us all the time. But what if we switched up heroes? They won't know how to handle us." And so the Mandarin went after the X-Men. 257. 258. 259. 260. This guy has a very unhealthy crush upon Dazzler, as you might can see. 261. That's not an ink blot. I guess that's Jubilee bleeding. First time I saw that cover, I was like, oh crap, what's on the front of this cover? 262. Ford recalling his memories in Vietnam. 263. 264. 265. And of course, this is Storm coming back as a little kid, and then eventually she would meet in 266. Gambit. This is the 266 facsimile cover. This is the second appearance of Gambit, right? Then I have a 266 direct edition. Then I also have a 266 newsstand edition. Funny story, my original copy of 266, I traded to a guy for a Green Lantern 50. That's the glow-in-the-dark cover, where Hal Jordan goes crazy, kills all the Green Lanterns, and it's glow-in-the-dark cover, which was like revolutionary for back in that day. But it's not a book that has a lot of value compared to that one. And so that guy, boy, thought he really got one over on me when I did an even swap on the 266. Who would know, right? 267. Second full appearance of Gambit, if you want to call it that. Got 268, the newsstand, together again for the first time. And we got 268. This is the JCPenney's variant, because back in the day, Sears and JCPenney's did mystery boxes long before the internet came up with it. And I was a bad boy. I think the time of statute of limitations is past now, but what I used to do, I'd get these mystery boxes and I would cherry pick everything I wanted to keep and then put the other stuff back, and then they would take it back. But this is where that one came from. And then the 3D version, they recently came out with this. So it's still sealed in the poly bag. 269. So as you can see, Rogue has come back and she looks much different. And this is her, and she's not really fighting Miss Marvel, it's more in her mind. But it's 269. 270. So the Siege Perleus affected different people different ways. Havoc lost his memory, so Havoc gets taken down to Genosha and brain wiped. And so for the extinction agenda, that he doesn't realize it until later on in the storyline that him and Cyclops are brothers, and so he's actually doing the bad guy's work. And then we got 270, the direct edition. There's also a gold second print of that. Then we got 271, part of the Extinction Agenda. Then we got 272, awesome Jim Lee cover with all the awesome X-Men of the day. And I got original copy of mine. Got this out of the dollar bin, and it was all banged up, the one I had back then. But I thought I was big stuff because, you know, this was 272 was really before I started collecting X-Men, so I found it in the dollar bin later in my local comic shop. And, you know, it was before the internet and all those other kind of things that we have these days. I didn't get to travel around like I do now. Boy, thought I really scored big. 274. This is Rogue, Kazar, Nick Fury, Magneto. She's getting a little fresh with Magneto there. 275. There's also a gold version of this that's a second print. 276. Used to have a shirt with this on the cover of that. Hint, that's not really Professor Xavier. Got 277. Wolverine versus Gambit. And that is a direct edition. This also is the direct edition, but the difference is that this one is signed by Jim Lee. Torpedo says so. 278, newsstand edition. 278, the direct edition. 279, the newsstand. So Colossus lost his memory too, and he ends up, of course, gaining it back, but part of the Siege Perilous deal. But that's the newsstand edition. I also have a direct edition that's signed by Chris Claremont. Torpedo says so. Then we got 280. And really 281, I guess I was a sucker of the day, but when it said a mutant milestone, I said, man, this thing's going to be worth $1 million, just as probably every kid of the 90s did. But this is really where I started collecting X-Men at, was 281, and with this story. This is the direct edition. I picked up a newsstand copy of this off an online auction, and I didn't realize that tear was there. So I had to pick up a newsstand, a better newsstand some other time. 282, first appearance of Bishop. Not sure how this counts as first appearance, and say the annual doesn't count as Gambit's first appearance, or Hulk 180 doesn't count as Wolverine's first appearance, because Bishop is on the cover, but essentially he's in like 2 panels at the end. So who knows? Who knows? So that is 282, and I got 2 direct copies of that. Bought them at the 2nd and Charles in Alabama, and got them on the cheap. These things used to have a little heat on them, not so much anymore. But then we got 282, the second print, gold edition. Then I've got the True Believers version of this. Then we got 283. First full appearance of Bishop. Storm shows him who's boss. Then we got 284, where they fight the Predator lookalikes. This is Willis Portacio's day in 285. 286, cool Jim Lee cover. And it's also a newsstand. 287. Bishop's friends get killed. 288, the direct edition. 289, the newsstand edition. 288, the newsstand edition. 289, the direct edition. So Forge and Rogue have had a thing off and on for a while. And he proposes to her. And then this is 289, the newsstand edition. 290, the newsstand edition. She thinks about it. She says, hey, I'm going to do it. And Forge says, you ain't going to do nothing. I'm out of here. She goes, but I was going to say yes. 290, the direct edition. 291, the newsstand edition. 292, the newsstand edition. 292, the direct edition. 293, the newsstand edition. This is Peter fighting his brother, the lesser known of the Rasputin clan, and he has reality warping powers. He has now been resurrected. He dies in this, but he's now been resurrected with the Hickman run. 293, the direct edition. 294, still sealed. This is the Executioner song. Supposedly, Cable shoots Professor X. Come to find out it's Strife. It also explores, at this point, it's still unknown as to whether or not Cable and Strife, which one's the cyborg, which one's the real one. At the end of it, it really leaves you to believe that Strife is the real guy, and Cable has essentially the heart. He's the good guy, but he's really not the real one. It's just a couple issues later in the X-Men that they say, no, he was really Mr. Sinister. exposes the truth and says, no, he's really the real guy, and here's the deal. And they make it more of the techno organic virus, because largely it was that Cable was a cyborg, not that was living, similar to Warlock, not the living techno organic virus on him all the time. So 294, this one's been open. 295. It's a really good story if you haven't picked it up. At least I think so. Executioner Song brings all the X titles together. 295, still polybagged with the card on the inside. Apocalypse ends up helping them out, because remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And he is no fan of strife either. And of course, Mr. Sinister is behind the scenes pulling the puppet strings. 296. This one is open. 297. There is a Pressman variant, and of the 3 or 4 Pressman variants that are out there, Pressman being the company that made X-Men board games back in the day, you would get a comic book in the box. And so there are the ones that are out there are typically not in really great shape. If you check them out on eBay, you'll see that this one's pretty pricey. Keep It Thorough had one up for auction, but it got out of hand, and not really. It was more so that I had just bought a couple big books, and so I was trying to chill out a little bit, at least for a few days. And so, but there's a Pressman variant of that I want to get a hold of. One of the side effects of the techno-organic virus, being healed from it, Professor X is able to walk, at least for that issue, and then he loses that ability at the end of the issue. 298. And 299. And so that is all that we are going to do for today. Again, I want to thank you for checking out this video that is premiering. And I want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be going through my whole Uncanny X-Men collection, volumes 1 through 5, all the variants, all the annuals, and showing them to you and sharing stories like I did before. Please comment down below, what do you think about videos like this? And let me know. And until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Thanks for watching. Adios.